Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from, and welcome back to another Bitcoin technical analysis. And today I wanted to talk about Bitcoin seeing rejection from the 50 EMA on the 4-hour time scale, and Bitcoin also falling under support. So today I wanted to talk about where it's going to go from here and my thoughts in this area. So if you guys are interested, go and stick around for the video, and do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this. So we still have this overall giant kind of pennant pattern forming, but I think one of the most recognizable things for me is that former support is now turned resistance on Bitcoin, and that is not something to take lightly. So what I mean by this is over here, we definitely see that this has been support all the way around here, and I can kind of probably highlight this so that we can get a better view of this, but definitely support in here, definitely support in here, and then now what we can see is that former support has actually turned resistance over in here. Now this becomes to be a little bit of a problem and a little bit more of a scary thing, kind of leading into this bearish sentiment that I've been talking about in the last couple of videos, especially in the last video talking about why I'm increasingly more bearish on Bitcoin when it's doing stuff like this. You do have the death cross on the 4-hour. It looks pretty much confirmed. This rejection from the 50 EMA in this whole area, which I can kind of zoom in on and look at, is something, another reason of why I'm bearish in this area. Of course, right here you can see bearish on the crossing down to the downside, and then still bearish rejection from this 4-hour EMA, the 4-hour 50 EMA. So now I think with this actually having the 50 EMA below the 200 EMA for the first time, it definitely looks like this is leaning more towards a bearish sign. I was trying to draw up as many support lines as I could to kind of see, what kind of hope that there was in this area. But I also want to explain as to why it stopped here as opposed to anywhere else. So of course we did have this like very small support line, nothing too strong, so I wasn't too surprised that it broke it. But right in here you can see that this was a support line. You have 1, 2 touches right there, and then 3 and 4 touches right here, and then actually breaking down after seeing rejection from the 50 EMA once again over in this time scale, which actually happened I believe earlier this morning. So now that we're below this area, a lot of people were like, well, why did it stop here as opposed to everywhere else? And the answer is pretty simple. I mean, this is a previous top right over here. You just draw a simple support line. We can go ahead and get rid of this guy so it's not too cluttered up. But we can go ahead and see that this was, what was this? $9,430 was a previous top over here around July 17th or July 16th. And so now you have former resistance turned support, and because of the fact that it's above it. So this is really the reason. Sorry, that was a little bit of a ramble, but basically the whole reason as to why this is now support is because it was former resistance, broke above it. When it came back down, it's now used as support. So former resistance turned support is a good thing, but in this case, I wouldn't necessarily that this is a good reason for it being. The reason that it's support is because that, Bitcoin's fallen so much. I mean, Bitcoin dropped 5% in almost one candle earlier. It went from $10,200 all the way down to around $9,300. So, about a $900 drop this morning in Bitcoin, which isn't probably what anyone wants to see unless they're shorting it. So this kind of gets in the way of the whole theory of, well, this could just be bouncing over here in a giant symmetrical triangle. That's not really the case anymore because you can't really even draw that up. Maybe you can actually try to draw, and what we can do is actually we're going to leave this on here in case it retests resistance. But another thing that I wanted to actually draw up over here was some sort of new support line of these swing lows that we've been having on Bitcoin recently. And it would look something like this. So according to this, our next measured move to the downside would definitely be into the 8,000s. And it most likely, we'd be looking at probably about a mid 8,000 area, somewhere around 8,600 or even 8,500 would be my guess as to my target towards the downside. Now this would make sense. It would be on the support line. It would be around the 50% retracement of this swing series that we've had. And it would also be at this consolidation support right over in here. So to the downside again, I think my ultimate target is the 618. The 618 is the golden fib retracement on Bitcoin. Any lower than that, I would be a little bit more nervous. I've talked about that in previous videos, so I don't want to rant about it too much in this one. But looking at the MACD and the RSI over here, there isn't too much to discuss. You could argue that there is going to be some sort of bullish divergence forming on this 4-hour MACD. Nothing too insane for me, not the kind of divergence that I necessarily would be craving. This looks like a little bit more of sloppy divergence, but needless to say, you can definitely see that the oscillators are fading out towards the bullish side a little bit more, and For me, what this looks like, it is, it's really the sign that it's starting to get exhausted. Now, that's not to say that it can't go down anymore. That's not to say that it is just going to go up from here. But what this can show me is that the way that this bearish divergence is forming over here, or this, any kind of bear sentiment that we've had, is telling me that there is consistently lower swing highs or lower swing lows on anything from the bears, from the indicators over here to the oscillators over here. So all of this stuff definitely is fading towards the upside. Usually what this means is that pressure is building for a larger move to come. Could this have been the larger move? I don't really think so. I mean, it barely showed up on the MACD, so I definitely think that this isn't the large move that it's looking for. I definitely think that it could fall more and then see a large bounce towards the upside, or it could most certainly see a large downplay to the downside of, again, possibly that 618 fib retracement around $7,200, $7,300. So really kind of watching this closely. I'm not in anything over here. The reason that I'm starting to get a little bit more bullish is because I think that this guy is definitely working its way into a more bullish case scenario. I mean, with the RSI sitting so close to this oversold territory, seeing, consistent higher swing lows, something that we have been waiting for. I wonder what this looks like on the 1 day actually. So not quite at the area of the 1 day yet. So I think in the short term, I'm still going to have to sit bearish. I think in the mid to long term, though, I'm actually not too bearish on Bitcoin. I definitely think that it could, again, retrace all the way down to the 618 and to the 7,000s, definitely into the mid 8,500s. I think that that's certainly probable at this point. I don't really see any reason as to why it wouldn't come down to and at least touch the $8,000 region. But moving on to the RSI, I guess the area that I'm looking for this guy to bounce off of is this oversold territory of around 29 to 30 points. That would be my ideal bounce range for Bitcoin. I think that would set a beautiful higher swing low, and that would, for me, be ultimately a good longing opportunity. So time will tell us to, as to whether or not it's going to get there. Right now, it's sitting at a 36.29, so it's not too far, but it's, definitely not at a point where I would want to be long as of yet. You'd really be trying to catch a knife at this point. But definitely be keeping an eye on, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on all of these tops over here on Bitcoin as to whether or not any of these guys are going to hold. We definitely know that there is going to be support from these tops because of the fact of what we just saw this morning. But again, measured move towards the downside at this point. I am bearish on Bitcoin here. Until it probably reaches a new low of the, new low of this like little swing that we've been having. But if you kind of want to, okay, so let me talk about one more thing, and maybe this is something I'll do in a separate video, but I kind of wanted to argue for a little bit that this could be a giant bull flag on Bitcoin, and let me just explain why, and I'll probably do a separate video on this tomorrow or the next day. So basically the way that I was looking at this is that maybe that this was just a giant, and this is going to be really ugly because of the fact that we just have so much drawn up on the screen. So just bear with me here. So basically what I was trying to say is that this is just basically a giant bull pull over here towards the upside. So we have our giant bull pull right over in here, and then we have our bull flag forming right over in here. So top of the bull flag, bottom of the bull flag. And the reason that I'm saying that, let me go ahead and get rid of some of these guys as well. The reason that I'm saying that is over here you have, very clear levels of, this doesn't look as good on the daily. We have very clear levels of support over here in here. I need to move that down just a little bit. So basically what you're seeing is a falling parallel channel over here, and this would actually look really good on a parallel channel tool, but I'll probably save that for the video. But a falling parallel channel with a nice run up to back it is usually classified as a bull flag scenario. So you could see, a retracement, a hefty retracement. It hasn't even had its third touch point on support yet. So this thing could really come all the way down into this $8,000 or even $7,000 area before bouncing and still being a very bullish thing, because what that would essentially do is set the limit for this guy of resistance all the way back in the mid 11,000s or even the lower 11,000 area if it wanted to bounce off the support. And so what that would look like is something a little bit of like this and then bounce up like this. And so even that would be around $10,990. So pretty nice bounce. So that's kind of, I guess, the macro idea if I had to guess as to what's going to happen on Bitcoin. It's definitely kind of more of a risky. I don't know. Risky is not the word. It's definitely more of like a futuristic play, which, is harder to call. The larger scale events and the ones that are farther in the future are definitely harder to call than the shorter term stuff. So, take that with a grain of salt. It's just kind of a theory more so than anything that I have on Bitcoin right now. So we'll see as to whether or not it plays out, but hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, let me know in the comment section below. Are you guys bearish or are you guys bullish? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.